couple days ago, I tweeted out so players wouldn't forget about the free Mega Tier 2 in the Sweet February event just by playing World Boss. And I had an interaction with someone, it doesn't matter who they are, but here it says, it's sad for me that even this type of event is not enough to engage me with the game anymore. I said, World Boss is the easiest and best content in the game. It's crazy if people log in and don't play World Boss. Now, I'm making the distinction here. If you're logging in to the game and you're choosing not to play World Boss, I think that's crazy. If you're not logging into the game, that's fine, dude. It doesn't matter to me. And they go on to say, I really loved it, but I don't know, man. It's just kind of boring nowadays. I still keep up with your content, but still playing for me is different. I really just log in, farm gold or some auto for 1 hour and log off. I just don't have the joy to play it every day like before. And I found that really shocking. And so I said, I just play stage 1. I actually play stage 9, but whatever, same thing. Of World Boss Legend 5 times a day, and it takes me 5 minutes or less. You can play it while you're pooping or brushing your teeth. It's easy peasy, and it really is. And they go on to say, like I said, it's not that I can't play, it's just boring, and that's why I dedicate to other game modes. And I just find this logic so mind-blowing. And I left with the following. Problem is, the problem here with this situation, in my opinion, at least, is that the game most likely isn't going to get fun again for you unless you're building strong characters. And you can't do that without World Boss Legend materials. So I wanted to do a quick little guide on the tips that I have to save time in World Boss Legend. And I'm actually going to be using Gene Stage 9. I'm not going to be using like Null or Mephisto. So these tips can help you for any World Boss Legend, but they will work even doubly good or triply good. They'll work way better on the weaker bosses like Null and Mephisto. But I'm going to use it against a strong boss to really illustrate my point here, okay? So we're going to jump in first against Gene with my Black Bolt. This one's a little bit more specific. You have to have a Mighty Rage on your Black Bolt. You also have to have, obviously, the seasonal uniform. But just a quick little example of what I used to do versus what I started doing recently. And I'm not even joking. This is a recent change that I made to the way that I play him to save me like 10 or 15 seconds on the clear time. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot of time, but it adds up. Okay, so this was the original thing that I would do. Okay, I do 5, 3, 4. We blast off. Okay, my rage doesn't proc. Really cool. Let's try this again. So what I would do is I would do 5, 3, 4, which is his regular rotation. Okay, I would do some damage, and then I would come in with the 1 and the 2. My enrage proc would trigger. Okay, we'd go back into the rotation here. And okay, there. 446 is still pretty good, right? 15 seconds on the first phase. Hey, that's not bad. 15 seconds on the first phase is not bad. What if I told you I could have that time? So now instead of doing 5, 3, 4, I'm going to do 1, 5, 3, 4. And the reason for that is to charge up his enrage proc so that it triggers right at the beginning. And look at that. Instead of it taking 2 full rotations, it only took 1. Now that only saves me about 5 seconds. But that compounds, right? Because now in the next rotation, I can go ahead and I can pop the the tier 4 skill, and I can keep this up, and then, she's going over here, she's doing her thing, and now I can just pop the tier 3 right away. So this is a small thing that I did to Black Bolt to change the way that I was playing him, and it ended up, we got unlucky there. It ended up saving me about 7 to 10 seconds in total. And it was just that one small little change of starting with the first skill so that it triggers his enrage proc on the very first rotation. This kind of stuff doesn't matter it can matter for high level play, but it honestly matters, in my opinion, more if you're just trying to speedrun things, because you want it to the goal is to go as fast as possible. It's literally like a speed run any percent. So you don't really care what the rotation is you're doing. And if it's the most optimal, as long as it's the fastest. Another example here with Doctor Strange, you do need any form of his artifact. So a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, 6-star version, any form, any kind. You just need, the exclusive one. Okay, and what you're gonna do is you're just gonna pop the rotation, and you're probably gonna one-shot her to the first phase, cool, or whoever the boss is, you're gonna one-shot them for the first phase. Now in the second phase, you're not gonna have the 5th skill ready because it has a very long cooldown. You're not gonna pop the tier 3. Because here's the thing, and this is why you want to keep some form of his artifact available, okay? Because you're gonna zone her, you're gonna get her down to this thing here, or whoever the boss is. A lot of the bosses at the end have an iframe mode. You're gonna pop the tier 3, and that's gonna activate the artifact, which gives you iframe ignore. and then that allows you to finish her off while she's in her iframes and while she's just doing her bullshit. Now, this can be, again, this applies to almost all bosses because, you know, Ultron has an iframe phase at the end. Null has an iframe phase at the end before he gives you that 30-second window to kill him. Gore's iframing around and doing all this bullshit, diving and popping up and shit like that, right? They all have iframe phases. So this allows you to skip the iframe phase and then just go straight into DPS. Now, again, it's only going to save you like 2-3 seconds. But again, that adds up if this is something that you're not really interested in doing and you're just trying to speed run it as fast as possible. If you take a look at his artifact, when he triggers the time freeze effect, he has a 15% chance to then give him this iframe ignore for 4 seconds. I believe I believe the baseline is like 4 seconds or 3 seconds. It doesn't matter. It's enough time to just burst them down. Mine is 5 seconds because it's a 5-star artifact. But yeah, I believe it starts at like 3 seconds for the 3-star, which is still enough time to burst them down. Very similar tactic here with Luna, but you don't need her artifact for this one. You're just gonna pop your rotation at the beginning to get them down, right? To whatever, phase them, phase change them, get Null out of the chair, whatever it is that you're doing. And then you're gonna do it again, but you're gonna hold the tier 3. For a lot of characters, this is actually the best way to do it because a lot of characters don't have access to iframe ignore except on their tier 3 skill. Obviously, a lot of characters do the majority of their damage with their tier 3 skill, like Hela, Captain America, Captain Falcon, etc. But here, you're just going to pop 5, 4, 3, and then you're going to pop the tier 3. And this allows you to keep doing damage with 5, 4, and 3 as they're lingering, plus 6 to just speed through this shit as fast as possible. Again, it only saves you like 5 seconds, but instead of standing there for 5 seconds waiting for the enemy to get out of the iframe so that you can start popping shit, you just pre-pop everything and then sit in your iframe ignore skill and do all that damage, and you're laughing. So those are 3 of the tips that I've been using to shorten my speed runs when I'm fighting Gore, Jean, or Kang World Boss Legend. I don't employ these tips specifically for other bosses as often, like Ultron, Mephisto, and Null, because if I have to play against them, I actually do play high stages because I find them almost as easy. They get done in like a minute or less, and it's much more worth it to do a higher stage of these easier bosses than it is to spend 5 minutes doing a high stage of Jean or 5 minutes doing a high stage of Kang, which just takes too much focus, doesn't allow me to like multitask and brush my teeth or watch something on Netflix, and is generally more of a headache, requires resets and stuff like that. It doesn't really fit the bill for like a speedrun type thing. I can speedrun these easier bosses with high-level characters just by trucking through them. Like, it's a sub what you guys saw that what I did to Mephisto a few months back with those speed female heroes. We just trucked through them like, you know, Swiss cheese, because they just do so much damage and he has such low defense compared to Kang and Gore and Jean. But if you guys have any tips for speeding up your World Boss Legend runs, please hit me up in the comments down below and let me know. I could probably shave off a few seconds by just lowering it to stage 2. That's also another option. Keep in mind, stage 1 is always twisters, the twisters that snare you. So stage 2 is generally speaking the easier stage for most players. But yeah, I don't know. Was I wrong in my interaction on Twitter? Does it, is it weird to log into Marvel Future Fight and not play World Boss, or do you think it's justified because what they're saying is basically they don't want to really play the game, but they also don't want to not log in, so they're just logging in to collect things and auto-play stuff while they do something else completely. They just don't actually want to pilot their account manually and play things manually. I don't know. I think I was justified, but I do want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. So hit me up. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.